Fire Mountain Aria, written and narrated by Jill Penrod. Chapter 16. The door opened then, and Fidelio looked in, frowning. "Sorry, G, I thought—" "No," Gianni said. He took a deep breath. "Trace, you ready for better introductions?" Trace nodded, and Gianni ushered Fidelio inside. The man sat on another chair near Gianni, his look wary. In deference to Fidelio's normal sight, Gianni broke 2 reeds to light the room. The rest of us flinched against the brightness. "This is Trace Odell," Gianni said. "He's not from here." "Well, maybe he is, and we're not from here. It seems our world might not be what we thought." Gianni sighed and looked at Trace. "I have no idea how to explain this." Trace laughed. "I noticed. I think your volcano was moved. At some point, someone moved a segment of your world to my world. This little lake and valley you live in is actually sitting in a very, very large hollow rock at the bottom of the ocean on my world." Fidelio raised his eyebrow, and Gianni laughed. "I know it sounds ridiculous, but it might be true. We know things aren't going well. The babies, the cold. We don't have elders here, but the Fleota remember warmer days. The tremors. This rock we live in isn't doing well. We might have to leave." Fidelio stood, looking angry. "Gee, I know I haven't been the best friend lately, but you don't need to mock me." "Never," Gianni said quietly. "Trace, can we demonstrate? Can I?" Trace grinned. "Of course. Your talent is yours, Gianni. You don't have to ask permission to be who you are." "And who is that?" Fidelio asked angrily. "You've been insisting that you are normal and not supernatural. Now that isn't true?" "I honestly don't know," Gianni said. "But Kaya, Trace, and I have some similarities. We can do things that don't make sense unless some of Trace's theories are true. Watch." Gianni put the reed panel in his lap, and Fidelio narrowed his eyes. The familiar haunting song played through the air, and the pitcher at Fidelio's side disappeared and reappeared in a flash across the room. "Stop," Fidelio said. "I don't understand." For a long time after that, Trace explained things. He had to say most of it more than once because Fidelio simply did not want to believe. But after Trace jumped himself across the room, that was a song I really wanted to know, and then wove a reed panel in little over 2 randoms, one that I used to jump the pitcher to yet another new location, the man sagged in his chair and sighed. "This isn't what I expected to learn today," he said. "So we might have to leave?" "We might," Gianni said. "This is our home." "I know." "Do you? You haven't been happy here in a long time. Would you leave when there's actually hope of staying?" "No," Gianni said. Then he ran his hand through his hair. "That's not true. If I can leave, I might leave. I'm sorry, Fidelio. But no, I haven't been happy. Out there, I might be able to see things well. I might find—" The man looked at his hands. "Family, love, children, things that were never going to be mine here. You know that's true. Here I will be alone." "And who will lead us?" "I don't know," Gianni said. "I won't abandon the Scavari. I'm Scavari too. These are my people. But I'm not sure I wish to sacrifice my entire existence to care for them, not if I can find another way." Fidelio looked at me. "Will the Fleota leave so easily?" "I'm not sure there will be a choice," I said. "There's always a choice," Trace said. "The choice might be staying and dying with the reef, but nobody will come and force anyone out. I promise you that." "So you think someone put us here," Fidelio said, sounding angry again. "Picked up a mountaintop and put it here. Why?" "To protect us, perhaps," Gianni said. "There was a war. We were always told there was a war. And someone in that war was strong enough to move a mountain to the ocean, the man said. I don't think so. If someone moved us, they abandoned us here. You say Montefallo is dying, so we were abandoned here to die. Maybe, Trace said. I doubt that, but perhaps this was a penal colony where criminals were sent. Fidelio growled at that. We are not a penal colony. I suspect that's true, Trace said. I plan to find my way home soon, and some of the questions might be answered. You can't trust this, Fidelio said to Gianni. You're smarter than this. You saw what this man can do, Gianni said. Have you ever heard of a stranger coming to Montefallo? I was there when he appeared in a flash of light. He was hurt. I know this man can bleed. Are you calling me a liar? No. Fidelio leaned back in his chair. No. But I beg you to be careful with our lives. Have I ever been reckless with your lives? Gianni asked in a very low, dangerous, sad tone. No, Fidelio said. One side of his mouth twitched up. No, G. Never have you been reckless with our lives. What happens now? Gianni and I looked to Trace, who frowned. We can open a mine, or I can try to reach my sister. The panels made with Letzstoffer are very precise. I think I might have a chance of getting through, especially if Gianni hindered me last time. Can you do it now? Fidelio asked. What does it mean? How do you contact her? Trace looked at me, and I nodded. Maybe we don't want to wait, I said. I keep thinking of the babies. Here babies are very important. Even Scavari babies? Fidelio asked. The question surprised me. Of course. You think the Fliota wish ill on the Scavari? No, the man said. I suppose not. I think I want to blame someone for everything I've heard today. I can't blame G because he's my friend. Gianni laughed at that. Thank you, Fidelio. But these people can be your friends too. We wish to see our people survive. Both of us. All three of us. Trace set the panel in his lap and began a complex, beautiful song. He frowned while he played it, his focus shifting in a complicated pattern I didn't understand. When he dropped the wind, I felt a strange spike in his focus, and Gianni moved to his knees in front of him. Trace, the Scavari leader said. I couldn't see Trace through Gianni, but I felt pain. Gianni turned to me. Something for blood. What? I asked, pushing in next to Gianni. Trace had a small gash on his forehead. It's okay, Trace said. I'm fine. I didn't think about where I was. Underground. I didn't allow for the extra thickness of rock. I brushed it. I still don't have the song right, but it's close. I felt something out there. Maybe echo, or I don't know. I brushed the stone as soon as I felt something, so I'm not sure what I felt. Gianni let me tend to the scrape, which wasn't serious. Trace's focus felt a little strange, but I didn't think it was seriously damaged either. So what now? Fidelio asked. Let's work on the mine tomorrow, Trace said. I need to think about this song and figure out what I have wrong. Building songs isn't my talent. I shouldn't have ended up bleeding either time, so I've got something wrong. Are you sure? Gianni asked. Yes, the ores down here are unique, just like the reeds. Even if the reef can't be made habitable, at some point someone might wish to mine it. We might as well work on the tunnel. I think best while I work, so we'll move rock tomorrow while I mull over the song. Maybe in a few days I'll have answers. Trace and I walked back to my ISPA tour late in the day, and he told me about normal reefs, how they were brighter, warmer, and had fields of crops or large buildings. I found the information fascinating and couldn't imagine most of what he told me. More fascinating was the fluctuations in his focus as he talked. So much more happened in his focus than I heard in his words or saw in his face. G mentioned that Trace had secrets, and I thought I felt that. Quick changes that suggested some of the things he told me weren't true. I didn't think Trace was lying to me, but I also thought he kept many things to himself, things that brought him shame or sadness. After our meal with Amma, we slept around the fire pit, but Trace didn't sleep. During the wee hours of the morning, he rose and put on a coat, stepping outside into the cold night. I waited, but he didn't return, and I followed, finding him on the deck of the Isbatur, a small stick of Lettstoffer lighting a page in his lap. He held a chunk of burned Heitskava in his fingers, and with it he made marks on the page. When I got close, I realized the marks created an image. The image was me. Trace had drawn an image of me on an old blank page from the back of one of Amma's books. "Apologies," he said, not looking up. "I have damaged one of the books." I knew he'd been aware of me long before I stood over him, and I squatted at his side. "It's me," I said. "It's beautiful, but I don't think of myself as beautiful, but this image is beautiful. How did you do that?" He shrugged. "My mother didn't want me to spend all my time singing the reeds. She pushed both Echo and me toward other things. Echo bakes and cooks and decorates our skipper and finds many ways to live her life without the reeds. For me, this was it. Just like I hear notes in my head and then bring them into the world to make things happen, I see lines in my head and bring them into the world to make images." I laughed at how amazing this was. "It's a wonderful thing to do. We don't draw. Many of Amma's books have drawings, so once our people must have drawn. But our lives are hard and long. We work and sleep." "I noticed very little here is decorated," he said. "But the books, where did the books come from? They are simple, made by hand. When were they made?" "I don't know. That skill has been lost. Papa Olsen and a few others still write on pages. Papa Olsen's children make paper from the fiber of used Lettstoffer, but they don't make many, and we don't use them for drawing." I sat at his side, wondering how he fared in the cold. Our breaths plumed in front of us. "You're cold," I said. "Why come into the cold darkness to do this? And why draw me?" He smiled. "Because you make a beautiful picture, Kaya." I wasn't sure what to do with that thought, nor did I know what to do with this new side of Trace, his need to bring lines to life on paper. It didn't fit with everything I thought I knew of him. "You spoke of creatures beneath our reef," I said. "What do they look like?" With a few quick strokes, he formed a simple image of the strangest-looking creature I'd ever seen. "Are they dangerous?" I asked. "It looks dangerous." "I don't think so. I think it's lost. I have no idea what brought you or these creatures here." I touched the image, accidentally smearing the char with which he'd drawn it. "I'm sorry," I said. "Trace, I didn't mean to ruin it. It was beautiful." He put his arm around me and pulled me close. He was shivering. "I don't need to keep it. I just need the images out of my head and on the page. After that, it doesn't matter what happens to them. I haven't put many images on the page lately. I didn't know how much I need to do it until I stopped." His focus shifted to the familiar dark sadness, and I almost asked him to elaborate, but his arm was warm and tender around me, and he'd shared this beautiful thing, and he'd made me feel beautiful in doing so I let him have his private feelings. "We should go inside," I said. "You're not good in the cold." He laughed. "No, I'm not. I live in a world where the temperature rarely fluctuates. Thank you, Kaya." "Why are you thanking me?" He glanced at the page, and something unreadable came through his focus. "Because you're kind. Thank you for being so kind." I was sure that wasn't what he really meant to say, but the compliment still made me happy. Amma had once said that our ancestors believed in spirits that gave gifts and made things happen. Nobody believed that now, But as I sat here in the arms of this strange man, I knew Trace was a gift. If old spirits had sent him, or if he was here by accident, I was thankful.